Welcome to the listening show. A show you can listen to. We are on camera. Oh my god!
That was me. It was me doing it.
You doing what?
That stupid roller coaster going up the first incline sound.
Oh, you're talking about the popping noises that happened before we hit record.
Yes.
Oh, the audience has no idea what's happening. I have no idea what's happening. Also,
Yeah.
I have my headphones on, so I didn't hear it. I'm blissfully
Oh
unaware.
yeah. I'll tell you when it's bad. It was bad just then.
How about now?
It's fine.
Oh,
it's fine.
that's weird.
I can hear me a little better than you.
It's wildly
so.
inconsistent when it decides to pop.
Yep. I have allergies today or something, so I don't sound amazing. So I guess my voice acting career is going to have to go on hold.
Check us out next time on the listening show.
Listen later. Yeah. Speaking of voice acting, will you help me with my show that I'm definitely writing and gonna do? Will you just help me write it and do
I was
the
going to
work?
say, the way I see it, I will definitely help you with this thing that I know nothing about.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you do know about it.
Yeah,
I've
I
told
know
you
about
about it. I have an idea for a
It's
story.
just so I know that I'm on the same page, the fantasy play.
Yeah, yeah.
Whatever the working title is.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And I wanted to say something. I'll tell you now because it's stupid and I don't want to interrupt your thoughts because you have a lot you could talk about. You were telling me about it downstairs like 15 minutes ago because that's really important, the amount of time. No, 16 minutes now. You're working on a motif and I was going to say, hey, you like Megamind? Did you ever see that movie?
Yeah.
I didn't notice this, but somebody in a video essay pointed this out. They play Bad to the Bone in that movie at one point. Da-na-na-na-na-na.
Yeah.
And he has his own theme song, which I know he does. I just didn't pay attention to it. And there's a motif that pays homage to Bad to the Bone. So Bad to the Bone is da-na-na-na-na-na. And if you remember Megamind, it's dun-dun-dun-dun-dun, which is almost the same. Na-na-na-na-na-na, dun-dun-dun-dun-dun.
Well, Bad to the Bone is actually na 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 na. There's not a dun dun. There's not a double. Darn it, this is bad. It's not dun dun dun. It's just da 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 da.
No,
Na, 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 na.
that's Megamind. Bad to the Bone has two, but it's the same.
Are you sure?
Yes, pretty sure.
I'm not.
I have $5 in my wallet if you want to bet.
I'd bet
Do you have?
$5.
Do you?
Yeah, I'd bet $5.
I just got it from
Now
taking my.
here's-
I got it from taking my Chateau bottles to the store this morning. So I mean,
Now, I'll tell you this.
it's trash money.
I imagine in the song there are times when they arpeggiate that note when they'd go, but I think most of the time it's.
Okay, here's my stipulation of what I'm betting. When the song starts, and when there's the Bad to the Bone song, when there's no other instrumentation, it's like when it starts, I think. But when there's no other instrumentation, there's two of them. Da 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 da. That's what I think. That's what we're talking about. That's all I'm arguing about. I'm not arguing about.
Okay, well then you're probably. I don't know how it starts, but I know the rest of the song. It's just.
During yeah, I wouldn't disagree with that. Like during the song, that's probably the case.
But I bet. But I wouldn't doubt it for a bit that they do that little quarter note there. That
During his theme song,
Yeah.
it's pretty smart. I didn't even notice that because it's saxophones or something like that. It's some kind of
electric guitar.
it's orchestral. Megamind's theme. It's more orchestral than rock.
do
So
Megamind's theme right now.
Dun, 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 dun. I mean, I can't orchestrate it. I
Okay.
could show you, obviously, but I was like, oh, that's a motif. That's the Bad of the Bone theme in his theme. That makes sense because he's bad.
To the bone.
Sorry, I missed that part to the bone. That was way longer than I thought. Tell me about your play fantasy project that you want
You
me
know
to
it.
help on.
You know
Okay,
about
then
it.
don't.
I've fleshed out more ideas
Okay,
for it.
Tell the listeners.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh gosh, do I really want to do a whole show about the idea that is a concept in my mind and
No,
no further
don't.
fleshed out?
I'm kidding. If you want to, you can. Obviously,
Okay.
you brought it up. That's
Well,
why I was-
we'll talk about things and I'll bring up things about it as it's appropriate to the conversation. So in my adult years, I've had a growing appreciation for motifs and archetypes in storytelling. I'm starting to recognize a lot more the correlation in a lot of the best stories that exist, like how similar the archetypes are, like how the villain is always this type of way and he always has this type of motive and you can justify it in the same kind of way. And then the hero always has these things are the commonalities between heroes. We've talked about this. And that growing appreciation for repeating patterns in stories of the past has made me theorize that if someone was to take that knowledge and sort of fall back on it like knowingly go, I'm going to create a story knowing that to make it successful, I will have to copy these archetypes and recreate them in a new type of way. And I thought, well, that seems to me like a recipe to succeed at something is if you recognize what you have to do in order to do it the best way. And then you take that information and you do it differently. Anyway, so I figured, I think I would have technically, and I'm sure I'm not the first person who's thought this, but if I already know that all the stories have these same things about that, all the best stories have these same
equations is what I use.
properties. Yeah.
Anyway, I won't
Equations works, but you know, they have these same archetypes, these themes.
Formula. That's the word. Sorry.
Well, it's not necessarily that there's one formula that works. It's that there are tiny formulas that always work that when mixed together create a story. And all the formulas are laid out for you. And so then it goes, is there an optimal way to set these formulas up to make the best story? And the answer has to be yes. Because the best stories that we have, the best stories that exist, and they exist for a reason. So I think if you were to copy,
I understand, and I had the same thought about music because there's like hit songs. How do I explain this? I think you'll understand. There are songs that a majority of people like. I guess that's what a hit song is. And yet we're all so different. And yet there's something about this objectively that appeals to so many to where we can all agree that it's good.
Right.
So what is that objective measure? What is that? What is X in that formula? It's got to exist because those same 80% of people who like this song might like 80% of all the other hit songs. There's some similarity there. So that applies to, I think, film, archetypes, stories, music, and other forms of art. I couldn't think of one specifically, but I was thinking about music and I was like, why don't they just do that? Why don't they just figure out what that is? Maybe they have. That's what I was thinking. As far as formulas and stuff, excuse me. I don't know of the specific example, but supposedly there was a late night show that did their best to derive the formula of viral YouTube videos. And so they made their own viral YouTube video based off of what they saw. And it succeeded as a viral video because they try to figure So there's got to be something like that with music. And there's got to be something like that with stories. Now, the question I ask myself next is, clearly it exists. I bet people have discovered it. Why doesn't everybody use it? Two things, I think. One is because not everybody wants their stuff to be what everyone else thinks is great. So people just want to make what they want to make. And the other part is if everybody knew the answer to success, and that's true for life as well, it wouldn't work because if everybody's special, then nobody's special. So I don't know to what degree you can, with your archetypes and whatever the little formulas are, to what degree you can go snatch that. Here it is. It can't be quite that simple, but there's got to be an answer out there. That's what you're saying. There's got to be like a correct way.
And I think I know at least my answer to that problem that you've proposed. So the problem is more or less, if there is one success, if there's a successful way to do it and it's discoverable, why aren't more people doing it? So that's one question. I don't know that that's the more important question. I think the more important question is what is missing right now. Because where there is a void of something, the closest refined version of the thing that's missing that reveals itself to the people will be what's absorbed. So basically the desire to write this story that I have comes from the fact that I believe at least the culture that as it is today is missing a few things, is missing a few of these stories. It's been told a lot of amazing stories that are, sort of the tail end of these stories, but I would like to see what happens if, boom, the refined version of the stories they're not told is just all of a sudden introduced and what it would do to the culture. That's a really interesting challenge to me. And so for instance, one of the stories that I'm sure many people, at least in their soul, their spirit, they would relate to this story is the story of unearned forgiveness, I guess is one way to put it. It's it's grace, the story of grace. And so a lot of people don't really believe that story right now or see a lot of that. A lot of it's earned grace. but there's not a lot of stories about unearned grace and its utility and use. And so, I mean, one of the main themes I want to have in the story that I'm writing is a story about creating like this thing, and it gets very close to doing everything right. Because most things do. At some point, you're going to be close to doing everything right. And then I want the thing to fail like at the utmost level. And then not only do they fail, but then they earn their failure by making it worse. Mm-hmm. And, you know, maybe not malevolently, but just because that's what happens in inertia is things get worse. So maybe telling that story and then introducing, you know, the deity character of the story, whatever that is graceful to the person despite that. I think that would be I think it would resonate with people if it was done correctly. I think that there's a way to and there's also a way to do it right where it doesn't matter that it's not earned. It's more that you see that it's a powerful truth about existence more than this is what should be happening. I don't know.
I get it. I wish there was like a fridge magnets that listed the archetypes on them, so I could visually go, "Oh, these are the 7 or whatever they are."
Yeah, and then there's like so many.
I'm like, like the most banal childhood possible. Oh, I see these 4 movies all the time, but these 3, and this one, I never see it. Like, let's go after this one.
Yeah,
that's kind of what you're talking about. I think you mentioned about how if a culture doesn't have an archetype or whatever it was, if something's missing and someone steps in with it, it'll be absorbed. Roughly what you said, and that reminded me. We saw Spider-Man: Far From Home, Away From Homecoming. I had a title.
Far From Away From Home.
I had a title that mixed all 3. So it's Homecoming, Far From Home, and No Way Home.
Far From Away From Homecoming.
It's Far Away From Homecoming is what it was.
Oh,
or something like that. Anyway, we watched that movie, and I think it succeeded for 3 reasons. A couple of the obvious ones were, 1, it's Spider-Man. Everyone likes Spider-Man. 2, fan service. We all like fan service, but it was very successful. Like, I can't remember what the numbers were. And it was like more successful than maybe people expected. And I was like, well, I think I know what that reason is. And I think I mentioned this after the fact. I said, I don't think there was anything political in that movie at all.
Yeah.
Which is surprising because we're used to just seeing so much of politics in our movies now that was refreshing.
Yeah.
And I think in a way, people accepted that very nicely. Like, thank you. This is what's missing in our movies right now is just one without the politics. And I think that's one reason it was successful because of the thing you talked about.
Yeah.
Sorry, I took longer than I meant.
Well, and it's one thing to avoid the politics, but they also it was a modern movie. It was like a movie that showed you can have all the modern tropes of the modern type of humor and the modern methods of behavior without the politics.
On its own merits, it was good too. Like story wise,
Sure.
I don't want to make this a movie review, but like Peter Parker had a hero's journey and he failed and he wanted to turn to revenge, but he got the consequence of his actions to do the right thing got the person he loves most killed. Like actual consequences for his act, whatever. Sure. Instead of just whatever. Don't do a film review. The moral story is interesting observation, however you said it. If the culture is missing something, if somebody steps in with it, the culture will accept it.
Yeah. And in the same way,
as far as archetypes or something goes, art.
Well, just as art goes, is whatever's missing when it's reintroduced. If it takes the shape of a familiar thing while incorporating new ideas, and it's been missing for a while, it will be super successful. Is my theory. So the reason I'm so excited about the potential of maybe pursuing this story as a thing is that what I want it to look like, I'm potentially capable of doing it all. So that's exciting for one thing, like because I really want it to be a musical showcase as well, where I don't play traditional like pop style music very often. I'm not great at that, but I am okay at the orchestral. I could write a soundtrack for sure, and I've always had that ability where I can feel a mood and play a mood with something, and then I know theory well enough now to explore into the new types of moods I could try to write about. So on one hand, I think it would be cool to have, it'd be a departure from your typical John Williams and you know the people who are Hans Zimmer, the people who are doing soundtracks right now. It'd be a pretty distant departure from that. First of all, because I'm not as skilled, but also because it's a different voicing and a different type of story. So I'd want the soundtrack to be different.
Those are the ones I always appreciate the most, when the soundtracks, when they're like so different, or they are their own character, because I think music can be a character in a film.
Yeah. Specifically things that have been missing for a while. And another thing that I wanted to introduce is every one of these ideas I've had for this story idea is take a thing that's missing, throw it in there, and do it as good as possible. Make it its true form as much as possible. So like even like the topical presentery stuff, like the decade it's sent, or the age that it's set in, or the characters that are in it and things like that. It's ones that you don't see a lot. I would hope. So that's the goal. Now that's the part I'm having the most trouble with, is because it's like there's been so many characters done that I don't know how to make unique ones. I get to work on that for a little while longer. I was going to tell you one of the ideas that I had. I've had many more ideas since then, because most of the time when I drive, I just sit there and I think about ideas and just see if any come to me. And the most recent one I had was, it's another old idea, and I've only heard about it once in passing, but there's an Arabic school of thought about how like the Garden of Eden times, how the age of man began. I believe it's Arabic or Saudi Arabian or something, but the story it's something like God created beings and he created them out of fire, but they were so beautiful, and they were so full of themselves, and they devoured things, that he decided to recreate them out of dirt. And I've always liked that idea in a story where where God creates something out of something that's too brilliant and bright, that he creates it out of something more malleable and formable. And I don't believe in that God, obviously, but I like I just like the imagery of that story. And so what I thought was, wouldn't it be cool as if I took that interpretation of what people are, the dirt interpretation, which is one the Bible adopts as well. They've talked about we're dust, and to dust we'll go back, or whatever, and take that and make it kind of a literal representation of the characters. Like they're mud people, and they're cutely animated. You can imagine mud kids, slopping around, and I don't. It wouldn't be just mud, but it would be very akin. It would be that is the concept of what these people are. So a new old idea.
Yeah.
Anyway, and then it'd be cool to introduce, the other elemental type characters, as these are the beings, the races that are in this world where, everyone's scared of the fire people that are just fire. And it's a little, now I'm saying it out loud, it's a little close to Airbender.
I'm shaking my head at my own thoughts about my own bull crap. So similarly, I don't know if this is related. I think it is. I like the SCP Foundation lore and those stories, those monsters, essentially. There's one of the most famous ones, 682, is basically a giant unkillable reptile, basically that just hates humanity.
Yeah.
Well, one of the proposed stories or lore is he's actually the snake from the Garden of Eden, and he is one of God's children, kind of like Satan or one of the angels. He created all these beings, and he was one of the beings. And because the snake's like, it's not my fault she ate the fruit. I just suggested that, but he got kicked out of the garden, and his dad rejected him. Now he's mad at God. He's mad at all humanity for it. Like, oh, that's kind of cool. I mean, I don't believe that at all, obviously, but like as far as the story goes, now there's interesting stuff here as he relates to other beings and people, whatever.
Yeah.
You mentioned the Garden of Eden or something like that. I was like, oh yeah, hello. I just like stories. Similarly, Garden of Eden story, I don't believe, but like the stories that can come out of it are fun.
They would be, and they're still like, that's still an old story. It's an old story that resonated with enough people across the world that it's inducted into their lore. I mean, or their religion. They actually. And I wish I could remember specifically what group of people has that as their Genesis story, but there is a group in it. The idea was that everything was elemental, and there was God, and there was an egg involved, and then he created the fire beings, and some people interpret the fire.
That's Avatar: Last Airbender. That's the people that believe
they
one day Fire Nation attacked.
Man, I lost my train of thought.
Oh, I thought for sure you were going to jump in and start quoting it. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to ruin it. I was trying to be silly.
I know, it was funny. I just was not smart enough to continue going. It had something to do with...
there's a group of people that believe in a story that has to do with God and an egg.
I was specifically talking about beings created of fire, and that they were two. There was something about that, but I can't remember. It's, but you can imagine if that story stuck out to people, it's an old story. And so there's something about the idea of imagining people as they are now as little dirt people. And so I feel like
Mudbloods.
Yeah.
It's been done, Zach. I'm sorry.
Gosh,
but not pure.
It's
blood.
Impossible to talk about new ideas with you.
That's the problem. With
no,
new
listen
ideas.
to me, because I can't talk about new ideas with you because you will just relate it to another old idea. Then I can't think of anything.
No,
yeah.
I absolutely understand your frustration. Absolutely, because that happens to me. But at the same time, on this end of the deal, I feel absolutely responsible to point out, hey. This though,
yeah,
but it sucks.
But I know you're
in your position. It effing sucks. Like, fuck, it's still a good idea, but sorry, it kind of has been done. Fuck.
Well, Mudblood does that. That doesn't mean
that's not it at all. That's not the point. The point is
name,
there's somebody here who's going to point out how your ideas are not as original as you think.
Well, they're not. Okay, I'm trying to acknowledge that though. I'm literally saying these ideas have been done before. I just need to show them in a new way.
Here's a thought exercise. What is because there's so many. What can you think of to where it's an idea done in a new way, but it's an old idea, about it, and it's done in a new way?
I think literally every idea that's redone and seems original has been done before.
But I'm trying to think of exceptionally, like, you know what? I know it's an old idea, but this movie or whatever just does it. I like the way it did it. And then maybe we can talk about why it's so good. I don't know. But
okay, I have one came to mind. It's not a movie, though.
It's not Avatar?
It's a short.
Avatar has all kinds of symbolism.
Yeah, Avatar's great.
Do, but what's your answer?
I'm just spitting out the first thing that came to my mind of something that seemed original and it was done in a new way. It was probably something old, and it was the dumpling short from Disney.
Oh, you like that? You told me. I think it's called Mao. Bao?
Yeah, Mao.
Something like that.
I don't know. I don't love it. I just think I just remember watching it and being like, I did not expect that. I thought it was interesting how they could tell a story about a dumpling, and then it was like, that's what that means. And of course, people didn't track it then, but then it makes sense when
I saw it once a long time ago. I generally remember a lady made a dumpling, and then she raised a dumpling as her kid, and then this kid became rebellious and didn't want to be what she had made it to be. And then at the end, even though he was different, she ultimately accepted him. Is that the story? Did I get the ending wrong?
I mean, but it kind of remembered the beats, but I don't think you got the translation right. It's basically she created this dumpling, and the dumpling was so sweet when it was young, and then the dumpling starts acting like a teenager, and people were laughing at it because I feel like that's such a thing a teenager would do. Well, then it's revealed that it is just a teenager. That's what the story's about. It's about a kid, and then it's about the kid coming home.
It wasn't actually a dumpling,
right?
I remember that now.
And so it's just about kids growing up is what the story's about. So, but the fact that they told that story in a dumpling was just funny and interesting. And the fact that you could make a dumpling, and
there's no voices in that, if I remember right.
No, it's just music.
Those fascinate me a lot, or the stories with no dialogue. I'd love to make a sequence like that or something where it's completely visual. Oh man, what's another example of something? The Pixar shorts is a great place to go to for shorts that tell stories without any dialogue, but anyway, not important. I was just trying to find an angle to pick at for you deciding what archetype. Man, you should maybe not this moment, but Google what are the archetypes.
Well, there's a lot of different people's versions of archetypes. There's the Union archetypes. There's countless people who have
the
written
zodiac signs.
There's the Aquarius.
It's the Cancer movie.
Yeah. I was
Spread it to your friends. I mean, tell your friends about the Cancer movie.
Yeah. Well, I mean, kind of reining it back into the topic of my concept that's a little too larger than life for me to complete right now. I was talking to my dad about it 2 nights ago. And we were specifically talking in the context of my mom and I were having this conversation about, music, and she was trying to encourage me to lean into music and stuff. And I was being my pessimistic.
I was big dumpling, and I was like, no.
Right. I wasn't helping her out. She was trying to be encouraging, and I was certainly not making it easy. I was making excuses of why I'm not doing more music stuff and anything. And then my mom, she ended up, but not because she was upset or anything, but she's like, I'm going to go to bed. And Dad and I were just in the room by ourselves. And I kind of said something in passing about man, I feel bad. She's so good at encouraging, and I'm just so incorrigible. I just want to be miserable and make my choices, and she's just so good at it. So I feel bad. And he was kind of encouraging me too, like basically like if people have their time, you're gonna have your time, you're gonna get to do all these things. And he was talking a lot about inspiration. He goes, you really shouldn't do something if you're not inspired by it, because then it's not going to be an inspired work. And anyway, and so I kind of just volunteered then. Well, there's this thought that it's been kind of holding my attention lately, and it's this thought of this story I want to tell. It's called.
We had a working title, or you had a working
no,
title,
it wasn't
right?
a working title. It's what the type of story it is.
Hero and companion journey.
Not an analogy, but not a. I keep wanting to say a limerick. Boy, this is going to bother me, so I need to think of this.
Allegory.
Allegory. Thank you.
Whew.
It's an allegorical story, and so I was explaining what the allegory was meant. That story was meant to convey, and I was basically saying. So my roadblocks to doing it, just like working on it right now. First of all, I'm very lazy, and that's like the baseline one. But second of all, I don't have the education to do the art genre that I want it to sit in, which is the animation genre. And he goes, well, yeah, I mean, you can learn animation or whatever. And I said, actually, I was thinking about going to the community college and doing their animation class. He goes, does the community college have an animation class? And I was like, yeah. And it's like this much and you do it for this long. And he goes, I might do that. Because my dad's like that. If he wants to, if he just goes to school and learns things, if he wants to learn how to do it. And I kind of believe him. I think he would totally do it. And anyway,
ironic. He told you to get inspired. And you accidentally inspired him by like, whoops.
Yeah. He's a super good artist. He used to draw, and he draws caricatures. He's very, very good. I would be. So what I need him to do now is I need him to go take the animation classes, and then I can do all the rest of it.
Tell you what he learned when he comes home.
Or you can just animate my show for me.
You just do that.
Yeah. Anyway, I thought it was funny that I was like, of course my dad would want to go do the same kind of things I would want to do.
Oh man, I had a dream once that I animated something like, this is great. I forgot I did this. And then the night I was like, did I do that? No, that was a dream. I bet you've drawn more than I ever have. I drew two things. It was a picture of a donut and a coffee mug I drew, but the basic black lines on white, really boring. And then eyes, nose, and mouths. And I drew two different pictures for the mouth of each one. So it's just open, close. And it was like me and my brother, and it lasted for like 10 seconds. That technically was a cartoon. I did that, and I did a flip book cartoon once. And I do have it digitally copied. It's like a Jedi drawing his thing and jumping over a tank and slicing it. I still think it's really cool.
Yeah.
It's the only one of those I ever did, and that's it. So technically, that's like literally stick figures in black on white. That's as far as I ever got with animation.
Did I ever show you my stick figure fight? The kung fu fight. I have it in my drawer in the other room. I want to go get it.
You should digitize it. You could do it with your phone.
So it's on.
You could do it with your phone just to save it, instead of keeping it in your drawer, because that will only last for so long.
Yeah. Basically, what I did is they had these notepads at my old job, and then I'd like Wednesdays I'd be super
Was it a
free.
yellow one?
No, it's white, and it has the Union Bank and Trust logo on it.
I don't remember it.
But basically, I just at the bottom I drew these little stick figures, and I drew them fighting, and I was like, I bet I could make this look really good if I tried. And so I just tried different things, and I wanted to have them interacting with the page too. And so like at one point I had him lift the page up, and the guy falls through, and then he comes through a vortex and through the top, and they're kicking and flying at each other and throwing things.
That's cool.
I drew, my favorite part though is I drew after they had this fight near the end of it. I drew both of them hitting each other in the head with something, and one of them getting up and being dizzy. And I drew the little birds around his head and had him swing at nothing. And it looks like he swings at nothing and falls down
Because there's nothing there.
I'm gonna be right back. I'm gonna get it.
This is gonna be great. I can't wait. Oh, I didn't even hear it.
It's not good.
Intermission. That's the song I used from something as a royalty-free song, and I used it for a transition in a video, and that's the one that I default to when I think about. So, you ready for this bularkey? Use your own camera. Or you need to get much closer, like so that we can, all we can see is white.
All right, I'm trying.
This is great.
I gotta grab it again, get a better angle.
Yeah, you.
There it is. Oh, I can't do it.
You want me to try? I'm pretty good at working in front of cameras that are like left and right.
This is the thing. This is like two separate things.
Oh, that sucks. I'll just do one and then do the next one. I can hold it pretty well.
They slam each other, and then he takes a picture, and he throws it, and it comes back around and hits him, and then make him dizzy. And then make him swing and miss. They trip on each other. And then a guy walks up, and he kicks him, and then he runs away and falls.
That looked really good.
It's here. You can do it.
Oh, okay, I'll try. Let me switch the camera to.
I can't quite do it. I'm gonna get my headphones back on so I know if it's popping like crazy.
Because I have to move all this, and
This is all completely visual, so the ones who listen.
Listeners. I'm sorry, guys. If you want to see this, you just have to watch the listening show on YouTube.
We're messing up.
Okay.
So it goes backwards to forward. So you have to start from the bottom and go up and flip it up like no, the other way.
This.
Yeah.
There's nothing there. So
No. It starts from the back here, and then you go like this, and then you go like that.
That's it?
Yeah.
I thought you were gonna say you do this and then you flip it over and do this.
No. It's only the bottom.
This.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Good luck.
Yeah. Thanks.
Try to do it consistently.
Flipping is the hard part.
It's so hard.
Orienting in front of the camera is all I'm worried about.
Yeah. Okay. You're doing it.
Okay. I know we missed the first two panels.
That's okay. So I make him fly into that, and then he grabs him, cartwheels over, and he swings him around and smashes him to the ground. And then he lifts the panel, and then he freaking elbows him in the ground. And then he takes a selfie and he throws it across the world, and it hits him in the back of the head and knocks him forward. And then the guy gets up, but he's dizzy. And then he goes, "This is my favorite part if it gets done right." Yeah, I got the focus. Yeah.
I had it.
This is the tense moments before he finally moves again.
Come on, camera.
I could shove my finger right up your crack right now.
Is it prominent?
No, just I could do it.
No.
And then they're both dizzy, and then he falls and he swings and misses. Then he trips on it. And then they both land on each other, and then this guy walks up. He just kind of casually walks up while they're just laying on the ground. And he's like, "What's going on here?" And then he kicks him, and then he runs back, and he falls over. And then it's over. Anyway, yeah, no problem. I was so proud of it when I did it, and everybody at work was like, "We got to show that to my boss." And
Everybody applauded at work.
Yeah. Yeah.
The thing.
Anyway, so technically that's my first animation.
First, is that your? I would think you have done more than just that. Is
No.
it? Oh, that's not the right button. Sorry, mate.
No, that's the only time I've ever done anything like that. I mean, I think I've done a couple things, but that's the only one I kept.
It's working now. Working with a wired keyboard, it's better than nothing. But sorry, it's just a mess.
The annoying part was like drawing the same two bodies laying on the ground over and over. It just looks like they're just wiggling around. Actually, I just remembered. I also did a worm. I drew a worm crawling across the page too, and I gave that to my coworker, and it made it look like. And it was really good. It looked
this for you.
I looked like a worm crawling across a page, or like a caterpillar.
I was thinking about you, so I drew a little fucking slithering worm. Here you go.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. It was my coworker Ellen was her name. She was awesome. She's like 65 then.
Oh yeah,
And I love her. She would
checks
be
out.
like, "Draw me something, Zach." And I was like, "I know exactly what to draw you."
Draw
And I
you
drew-
something? You mean like one of my French girls?
Draw me something like one of your French girls.
That's what I was trying to say.
Yeah.
It's really funny though. If you she said draw me something, like okay, you draw like a really well detailed picture. It's just like the rose picture. You draw the whole thing. Here you go. Like you did like in 10 minutes, but like it's like what?
Yeah.
Or you just draw on the opposite end of the spectrum, just an ugly, horrible stick figure, like crickets, everything.
Eyes are
Just
not
for you.
proportioned right.
Yeah,
and
everything's
the
wrong.
head looks like a
The stick
potato.
for the body doesn't even connect to the head. The circle doesn't connect, and it's like an oval. And and here's the sun. I drew the sun.
I remember I was obsessed growing up with drawing goatees because my dad had a goatee. I was obsessed with it, and so I drew this like same weird ovular head that was not proportioned like a head, and then I draw weirdly small eyes and too detailed of a nose, like way too detailed, and then I draw like a weird like teeth, And then they always had just goatees. Everything had a
That's
goatee.
funny. Did you observe this as a kid that girls typically just drew better and or had better handwriting? Because
Yeah.
for me, it was always just the case that girls are just way more better at that.
Way more better.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are.
Oh man, that's all. That's all I was gonna say. But I'm jumping on a train of thought. I know a guy, and I do this a little bit. My sister does it a lot. I think somebody does that I know. But now there's this guy. Some people do this. They turn the page. Shoot, they rotate the page. They tilt it a little bit when they write.
That's a left-handed thing usually.
Or they, and this is what's weird about it. They'll like turn the page or tilt it. What's the word? Rotate it on the table. What's the word?
Yeah, rotate it.
Rotate it about like maybe 10 degrees. This is actually quite a bit. And then they'll rotate their wrist to match, and then they'll write it.
That's a left-handed thing.
I wouldn't doubt that left people do it more than right, but I've seen it done both ways.
Yeah.
But this guy does a full legit 90 degrees and writes vertically. I'm like, how would that happen? How would you, maybe over time you just kind of, and then this, but like one day you couldn't have just gone as a kid, this is how I'm going to do it. But he literally writes like this. And I'm like, that is, it's literally 90 degrees. It's not normal, or it's not unnormal to see a pretty good tilt. Like that's weird, but 90 degrees. I'm like, how do you get there? It's really interesting. Anyway, it's weird how some people just rotate their paper.
Yeah, it could be like a carpal tunnel thing.
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, speaking of writing, as of last year, oh, that's not the right way to start that story. You know, when a new year happens and it's your first time writing down the year on a piece of paper, you get it wrong because you're not used to it. Well, as of last year, 2021, I have never made that mistake. I know it's a new year and I don't get it wrong, but do you still make that mistake?
Yeah, sometimes. I mean, when I was working every day, I did.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
But I haven't had a chance to get it wrong this year yet.
Well,
Or I did have one chance, but I got it right.
okay, you got it right.
Yeah.
Is that your first year getting it right away?
No, I got it right other
No,
times.
I always get it right. It's just other people that get it wrong.
I've got it right before.
Okay. I mean, the first time is the time that counts. That's good.
I got
I figure I was just getting old enough to where I'm like,
You're too old to mess up.
No, it's not that. It's just there's
No, it
nothing
is.
exciting about a new year. So
There's nothing exciting
because
about
I'm
New Year.
old. Yeah, like, there's paperwork. I don't know.
Yeah, my birthday's in less than a week now, and everybody's like, "What are you gonna do for your birthday?" And I literally could not care less. It's very strange. I've always been excited for my birthday, and this is the first time. Last year, I cared like a tiny bit. I don't care at all this year.
I told you,
It's unfortunate.
or I should tell you if I haven't told you before. I strongly insist that you do something. Doesn't even have to be that good, but just do something to acknowledge that it's your birthday for the simple purpose of making sure that your birthday does not suck. Because if you at least do one, because having a birthday that sucks is the worst thing that can happen. All you have to do to counteract that is do one thing. Like, well, at least I had a good drink. That was that good drink I had. Something, just so your birthday doesn't suck. So for me, I think I'm pretty good at it. I make a cake. I don't like it that much. It's good, but at least I did something.
Yeah.
It's not that I like cake that much. It's just that's the one thing I know I can do to celebrate it. That's it. Usually I don't do anything.
My mom says we have Valentine's Day baskets out at her house.
Oh, for us?
Yeah.
That's nice. And by the way, it's Valentine's Day. That's why.
Is today
she did
Valentine's
that.
Day?
It is today.
Is it really?
I was reminded of that. I was like, oh, thank you. I was at the grocery store.
Oh my gosh, it's Monday today.
Yeah.
So it's a lot closer to my birthday than I thought.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the days are going by. I was at the grocery store leaving, and the
thought it was like
cashier
the
lady was
11th.
like, Happy Valentine's Day. I was like, thank you for reminding me that I'm single. I didn't say that, but I was like, I didn't think about that, but now I know.
My
yeah, it's
Valentine's
today.
Day. I think technically I've had one Valentine's Day where I was dating somebody.
Huh.
Because even
But
though I
did you ever
dated
have a
someone
Did you ever
for
have a Valentine?
what? Do I have a favorite Valentine?
No. You may not have had a Valentine when you were dating somebody, but did you just have a Valentine at some point, even if you weren't dating them?
Oh, sure. I'm probably.
Okay.
I mean,
I had a Valentine when I was dating somebody, and that's it. That's it.
yeah. Well, I don't know what. I guess by Valentine you mean someone who asks if they will be your Valentine or whatever.
Yeah, one of
Yeah.
those, or we're obligatory celebrating Valentine's Day because we're a couple. It's
Yeah.
one of those two.
Well, I just thought the timing was interesting because I've dated someone for like 3.5 years, but like twice we were separated during Valentine's Day.
Yeah, that happened
So-
to me too.
Yeah, which is very interesting. It's like the timing was just
Wrong.
in that couple week area.
Yep.
But then one time we were dating.
Yeah.
During it. It was
I
funny.
had something similar.
Yeah.
Or as it's also called Singles Awareness Day. So your mom has baskets for both of us?
Yeah. She said, I've got Valentine's baskets for you and Walter.
Well, that's nice.
Yeah. If you want to go out there, then we can do
Kind
it.
of weird. Because I've never heard of that.
My mom always gets us Valentine's
Day basket. Uh-huh. That's weird. Not bad. I just
she just puts like tiny little. They've got. I mean, this year they might have like cool things she handmade, like soaps and stuff, or
yeah,
or they might have like candy.
Yeah, I would have just
like
imagined
candy.
like a couple chocolate shaped hearts and some.
She usually
confetti.
writes me in like a nice letter. Me and my siblings. She'll write us something about how she loves us, and
Oh, that's nice.
yeah, because she does. You know. I did get a Valentine card one time when I was very young from a girl who was way older than me and I had a big crush on. And I remember being like, wow, this means we're going to get married.
We'll be together forever.
Yeah. I was like very young. I was
It's been
like
sealed.
6.
That's not that young.
Well, I know, but she was like 12.
Oh.
Yeah. And I remember like she came over and she whispered in my ear and she goes, I just want you to know I really like you. And then she gave me a card and it had a little heart. And I was like, I was blushing so big.
I was like, ew, girls.
I know. And I still remember that even though I was like 6 or 7.
Must have been traumatizing.
Yeah. It's very interesting.
No, it's weird. It's not bad. I couldn't help but notice right away. Like if the roles were reversed, 12-year-old guy gave a 6-year-old girl.
They're kids.
I know, but like at some point it's like, ugh. Anyway.
She might have been 11. I don't know. She was.
Oh, that's
she was,
fine. Whew, thank God.
Yeah.
No, it's kind of
I
arbitrary.
mean, they're just kids. You know, kids do
they
that.
are, and you was.
Do you remember doing like dumb little Valentine's things with kids when you were very young? You don't remember that?
The only thing I remember is, as it relates to me, my brother got a note from a girl, but that doesn't count. That's the closest I was ever anywhere near Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
I think it was when we became friends, there was a tradition, at least for me.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
McDonald's ice cream cone, or what's it called? A sundae.
No, there's their, yeah, they have this like frappe or whatever.
It was like
Smoothie.
tiny cup of
Smoothie.
like, no, it was like an 8 or 6 ounce vanilla ice cream. What do you call that? Smooth ice cream custard, whatever, with chocolate fudge on it. It was like, it used to be $1.
Yeah.
$1 Sunday. We just get that on Valentine's Day, and I can't remember how that happened, but that just started, and
Oh, we did that. I did that for like 3 or 4 years. Yeah.
yeah, I was gonna say I think 3 years. It was a
Yeah.
good little tradition.
Yep. And then one time I wrote a Facebook status where I talked about I had this very powerful mental image that entered my mind, and it was of me in a McDonald's booth, and I was looking out, and I remember in that moment there was like, I was like, it'd be great if there was this was both a mental image I had and a thought at the same time, because I saw it happen in my mind, and then I was like, this would be great. That's how it worked. But I was thinking in that moment about like a soulmate or like a person that I was going to marry. And I thought specifically of like a beam of light going and like just falling from the sky in like a cone, kind of like the, this is the end, getting sucked into heaven beams, just, and then it stayed there during Valentine's Day. And even if it was hundreds of miles away, then I would look at it and be like, that's where she is. And I'd have that full day to go to the light and try to find her. And maybe it worked the same the other way. And so like, it was just be like, well, I don't see the light. So she must be,
you have a window and you can pull it off.
Right.
It could be really hard or almost impossible.
Right.
You have a chance.
But it has to be in visual range too. So technically that could be exactly what happens, but she's on the other side of the world and I don't see it, you know?
Yeah.
Just
So how exciting would it be in 1 year?
There's the cone. The light.
Go. Jump your drink and go. I think it'd be maybe fair if it was both of you, but it's certainly more exciting if it's just one of you.
Oh, I know.
You're not getting any help.
And so she's like, I better get moving because I don't see the beam. Maybe he'll see my beam if I'm moving.
Oh, I didn't think that's a midway. She is aware of the whole Valentine's Day beam thing, but she can't see it. I was thinking she's oblivious to it, but that's a good middle ground. I like that, where you have the benefit and the responsibility is on you to make the game harder. The one person's playing as opposed to a teammate. You have to do it. And she's like, I hope he finds me, and I hope I'm not walking away from him right now. But you're like, no, she's walking the wrong way.
I've already thought of the.
That's a fun fantasy.
Right. It is. It's super fun. It'd be a funny little short story, but I already had the idea of how I would cheat the system. Is I would I would wait midnight. I would go to the satellite image and I would just look for light in the world. And I know it'd be there because I can see where the beam is. But I'd look at live satellite footage. And unfortunately, the time lapse would be a little different. I'd have to wait like maybe 12 hours to actually see it. But then I'd go, okay, she's there. Now I have 12 hours to fly there, and find her.
Possible.
Yeah, I think it's possible. But I wouldn't waste my time driving.
I mean, but
around.
if it was your soulmate, you put the resources into it. Like, I'm saving up for the year, so I have a plane ticket ready and I have the time of day and all that stuff. I'm sleeping extra long the night before so that I can be ready with 24. Whatever you got to do. Sure. It'd be a fun game. You could make it about anything else just for the fun of it. You could say, oh, this is $1 million or something. Like you have a chance to go get like once a year if you plan for it and go do it. Like that'd be fun.
It sounds like a cool geocaching like game that you could play, except for with soulmates instead.
Except for with soulmates. Yeah. I don't know why that jump was funny to me.
Do you know what geocaching is by chance?
I would guess it's when you.
I learned about this just recently.
Hiding things and then playing an Easter egg or a hunt in real life, basically. And you have maybe coordinates or clues, and these hunts can go all over the world. They could go all over the world, but basically it's a treasure hunt.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. There's like a website, I think it's called geocaching. And then you just look up your area and you see where other people they ping or they put coordinates. And then you just like drive to those coordinates and then you look for the thing that whoever cached the thing went there.
I said Easter egg because some games have done that where there's an Easter egg in a game and it leaves them on a geocaching, whatever, hunt in the real world.
Yeah.
Something like that. And there's like a prize and sometimes they never find them. It's like,
yeah, be cool, right?
That's cool.
I know. I was just recently thinking about something that I buried at my old house and I brought it up to my mom and she was like, why don't you go to the old house and just say that you used to live there when you were a kid and you can go see if it's still there. And I was like, no, it was only like 5 years ago that we lived there. And she's like, we moved out of there like 15 years ago. And I thought about it and I was like, oh, wow. That's true. Because we bought the house. Goddamn long. It was a long time. Yeah. It was like 12 years ago now.
Yeah.
So anyway, it was very weird. I was like, I guess that would be okay. Like I was a kid when I buried that. And so if I came back now as an adult man, then I'd be like, hey, sorry, when I was a kid, I lived here and this is my house my parents built and there's something I buried here.
I can't think of it in context of you saying that it sounded like a body. That's what I can think of. It's the funniest in that context.
I'm an adult man. I used to live here.
I used to live. You can't have buried something here. I need it.
Yeah.
No, it's weird. I drove by my old house that I lived at most recently a couple days ago. And that's not really important. I forgot what I was going to say about that. But I did drive by your house, the one you're talking about, a few months ago. And I had visited you when you lived there. Which ironically, coincidentally, isn't far from the house I was just at a couple days ago. But anyway, I was like, there's the ties and there's the stuff, and the backyard's smaller than I remember, and that's cool. And like, I was just thinking I could go up and say, hey, my friend used to live here. Like, why? What the balls? No. That's way too tenuous. And it's not like I want anything. I'm going to talk to these strangers. The best conditions for that are, first of all, you have a reason to engage with the person. So maybe you're delivering their mail and they're outside, and then maybe, but you wouldn't go out of your way.
Yeah.
So here's a weird story. Here we go. Christmas, actually, I drove by my old house. So I've driven by there a couple times now on Christmas and a couple days ago. I was driving my Jeep at night because it's Christmas and I like driving to see the lights. And I was like, I want to see the lights in my old neighborhood. So I drove there, and then as I got close to my house, I realized I was driving there habitually because I was so used to driving into a park. I was like, oh, that's weird. I forgot. Because I was about to drive there, and my hand went up to push the garage door button because it's a habit because I lived there for so long. And like, oh my, I still have the garage door opener. And the reason for that is because the Jeep had been gone in the shop for 8 months.
Yeah.
And it was gone by the time I moved, so I didn't get a chance to take the opener. Anyway, I was approaching the house. Like, I have a garage door opener to this house that people live in. That's kind of weird.
I bet they changed it.
And I was like, I doubt it. But also I was like, I could take this home and throw it away, or I'm about to go right by the house. I could just give it back to them. Like that. It's not like I want to talk to them necessarily, but it's their garage door, but I'll just give it to them. So I went up. I parked. I walked out. Like, this is weird because it's not my house, but it feels like it because I've walked here so many times. And I walked to the front door. I was like, I'm not going to knock because I want to like, that's weird. I'll just leave it here. And I left it, and I was like, leave it. And I was like, that's going to be probably really weird.
That's even weirder.
Or discerning because someone's going to come out and go, someone left a garage door opener and they click it opens the garage door, that'd be absolutely horrifying. Someone had a garage door open to my home and they just left it as a threat. Like, God damn it. Well, I meant well. It all happened spontaneously.
That's an appropriate situation of knock on the door and talk to him.
Okay, but that was a weird series of events.
You should just leave like smiley faces to show you're happy too. While you're at it.
No,
Written in crayon.
I walk up and knock and they come in the door and I go, hey, and I go, you like this? That's mine though. No.
Yeah. I think they changed the signal when they changed the
well,
houses.
hopefully.
Did you press the button, see?
No, I couldn't do that. I was like, I could see if like, no,
But then you just,
but then they'd be like, who the hell just opened our garage door?
But then I'd be like, sorry, I wanted to see if I could.
To them. I was just opening your garage door to see if I could. You can have it.
No. It's literally, it's okay. It's this. If you can't open their garage, then you got to give them the thing. If you can't open it, then it doesn't matter. You just keep it.
But if I open the garage door, I'll feel bad. Well, it's not like it's right. In hindsight, measuring all these things out, it's a little easier. But this was like one thing led to another.
Yeah.
I literally was approaching the house without thinking about it.
Did you leave it?
Yeah. Right.
You didn't knock?
No, because like it's Christmas night.
Oh, it was Christmas. Okay.
Yeah, I was like, I'm not gonna. Hey, stranger, I have access to your house. Anyway,
but not anymore. Merry Christmas.
But not anymore. Merry Christmas. Everyone's away. Yeah, so that was kind of weird. But yeah, sorry, that was a random story.
Yeah, okay. I was just thinking logistically how cool it would be to go see that house again, and I don't want to. Literally, I'd be curious about one or two things in that house total.
You mean how it's been organized and lived in now?
Well, the first thing I'd be curious about is if the closet hole is still there that I put.
Closet hole?
Yeah, there was a hole in the closet that my sister and I put there.
Are we talking about the house I used to live at?
Your
house. That makes more sense. Like, what are you talking about? Okay, yeah.
When we had that house, my sister and I, we had rooms adjacent to each other and our closets connected, and we knew that. We thought we could just drill a hole in the side and talk to each other from our rooms. And so we did. I got a butter knife and I just drilled through the wall.
The butter knife.
I did. And the story ends with my sister feeling an unbearable sense of guilt and crying and like crying all day and feeling so guilty and bad that she put a hole in the wall. And it was me who did it. And I'm just like, what? It's in the closet. Nobody's going to see it. She had the guilty conscience and I didn't.
And she told your parents and you got in trouble?
No. She told my parents and they had to, because she took it so seriously, they had to pretend like they took it seriously too. But they were kind of like, they don't really care. It's just like a tiny hole.
Yeah.
But then they were like, I think she'd be shocked if we took her serious feeling of guilt and belittled it. Maybe she wouldn't feel guilty about things she should feel guilty about in the future. Anyway, so it was like a weird balance thing.
Yep.
You'd have to ask them exactly why they did what they did anyway now. But she basically was like, well, at some point we'll have to fix that. That kind of thing, hyperventilating and snorting and snot everywhere. And we didn't get grounded.
Oh no.
What?
The audio is still working. But for the video...
Oh, we're not recording video?
We were, but when I dropped the thing, it must have stopped. So,
well, okay. Now we figured that out.
Well, that just means on the YouTube video, it's just going to go black because we'll have some of it.
Well, it'd be...
None of it's working.
Well,
yours is recording. That's the important thing, So
yeah. Well, what would be really great is if... well, there it goes.
Well, it's not recording, but it started to work.
What'll be great is if it stopped working before we took 5 minutes showing the animation flip book that I did.
I forgot about that.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Well, just in case. It's here. And it goes like this.
And you do this, you go, flip my book. Wow.
You can see it.
The guy ran away. You can see that
That's the flip book.
No. I'm mildly disheartened. This kind of happened before. I feel like I got to bring attention to it now. Our little stupid, awesome, but not that awesome, apparently, little controller broke. And I looked and see if I could get a warranty or anything replaced. And I'm like, no, because you bought it 6 months ago. So anyway, I checked, but it's toast. And now they'll me to switch cameras is with a keyboard. And it's not very good because it's huge. And I can drop the mouse when I do it. And apparently that might be what happened. But it also seems like it froze. I don't know.
Well, we have the audio.
We have the audio. That's the important thing. It's a show you can listen to. Yep. If you want to watch a show that you can watch, somebody's going to work on that.
We're gonna have to.
They being us and will, as in they did. It's called the watching show. But
They'll do it.
if that stops working recording, then we're in actual trouble. But this is
Dude, we're famous, man. By the way.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Because we have so many recurring listeners and watchers, and they listen. Makes me feel famous.
Thanks for being reoccurring.
Yeah. Thank you for
Thank you for
listening.
being a reoccurring host and showing up.
Every time. I will if I want. Oh gosh. These are popping
I
out.
guess goodbye.
Yeah,
for
bye.
all time.
I'm doing this. I'm hanging up.